As the landscape of religious leadership continues to undergo constant change, Pastor Ron Carpenter is one of the few persons who has earned as much attention and controversy as he has. Carpenter, who is well known for his passionate sermons and enormous megachurch, has recently become the focal point of a heated dispute that has caused several members of his congregation, as well as the general public, to question the ethical boundaries of faith and the AI prayer app controversy. In the latter half of the year 2024, Pastor Carpenter implemented a cutting-edge instrument into his ministry. A software application that is powered by the user's eyes and is supposed to provide users with personalized prayers and spiritual direction. The software, which was marketed as a way to provide assistance to his flock around the clock, made the promise that it would replicate Carpenter's pastoral care through the use of artificial intelligence. On the other hand, what was initially portrayed as a revolutionary combination of religious belief with technological advancement was rapidly met with criticism. The app was referred to as a hoax by its critics, saying that it alienated believers from authentic personal communion with God and that it commodified spiritual acts like prayers and meditation. A number of individuals argued that relying on an eye for prayer could potentially impair the validity of an individual's spiritual journey. Public outrage and ethical questions are being raised. The reaction was fast and vociferous in nature. There were many people who accused Carpenter of using the faith of his followers for financial benefit, and they suggested that the app was more of a mechanism for collecting income than it was a true spiritual intervention. Concerns were also expressed over the ramifications of substituting human pastoral care with artificial intelligence, which has the potential to diminish the personal connection that is present in many religious experiences. In response to the controversy, a more extensive discussion over the function of technology in religious rituals has been initiated. In spite of the fact that there are those who believe that modern tools have the ability to improve spiritual participation, there are others who warn against the possibility of misuse and the loss of genuine personal ties. Final thoughts. A striking illustration of the difficulties that might occur when faith and technology come into contact with one another is provided by the controversy that has surrounded the iPrayer software developed by Pastor Ron Carpenter. As religious groups struggle to navigate these unfamiliar waters, it is of the utmost importance to uphold ethical integrity and place true human connection at the forefront of their priorities. Ron Carpenter is a name that is connected with dramatic sermons, leadership responsibilities in megachurches, and a dominating presence on stage. He has been a subject of criticism and appreciation for a very long time, taking the lead at Redemption Church. In addition to having one of the largest and most powerful congregations in the United States, Carpenter's ascent to prominence was propelled by his ability to connect with audiences on a profoundly emotional and spiritual level. Over the course of several decades, he worked to establish a reputation as a visionary pastor by combining conventional Christian doctrine with forward-thinking techniques to conducting ministry. Nevertheless, the very characteristics that put him on the path to prominence, the unusual approaches he took to problems, and the entrepreneurial drive he possessed would ultimately throw a cloud over his legacy. The allegations of financial mismanagement, questionable ethical methods, and the contentious embrace of technology would ignite a maelstrom of discussion, which would threaten to bring his empire to its knees. How about a visionary or an opportunist? It is vital to examine Ron Carpenter's dual identity as both a spiritual leader and a businessman in order to gain an understanding of the controversy that has surrounded him. Preaching was not the only factor that contributed to the expansion of Redemption Church from a small congregation to a huge megachurch with a large congregation. Additionally important was Carpenter's capacity to market his ministry, secure financial support, and broaden its scope of influence through the use of various forms of media and technical advancements. While it is not unusual for modern religious groups to combine ministry and business, the fact that they do so frequently causes eyebrows to be raised. On the other hand, other people believe that Carpenter's focus on business made it difficult to differentiate between serving God and making money off of his faith. On the other hand, his followers consider his techniques to be necessary modifications to the demands of a world that is fast changing. They also consider the purported swindle to be a comprehensive breakdown of the claims. Many negative connotations are associated with the term scam, including the implication of dishonesty, exploitation, and the betrayal of trust. In the instance of Carpenter, the claims originate from a number of significant problems. A1. Agricultural prayer app. Earlier, it was mentioned that Carpenter's venture into the field of artificial intelligence was portrayed as a courageous move forward. The software pledged to provide users with individualized prayers, spiritual guidance, and even sermon suggestions that were suited to their specific requirements. In spite of the fact that many people were initially captivated by the software, it wasn't long before doubters started to question its actual use. Monetization is prioritized before ministry. The app's subscription model was one of the most important accusations that was leveled against it, for which users were needed to pay a monthly charge in order to access premium features. Because it reduced prayer to a transaction rather than a spiritual practice, many people believed that this commercial approach weakened the spiritual aspect of prayer. Concerns to the privacy. In addition, questions were expressed over the app's utilization of data analytics in order to produce individualized recommendations. Users were concerned about the manner in which their information was being held, evaluated, and possibly converted into revenue. A dehumanizing approach to faith. And for many, the concept of relying on a computer program to provide spiritual direction seemed impersonal and even sacrilegious, as it undermined the fundamental purpose of having a direct relationship with God. 2. Concerns regarding the transparency of financial transactions. Carpenter was confronted with an increasing number of inquiries regarding the financial operations of Redemption Church, which went beyond the app. There were allegations made. Misallocation of financial resources. There were many who argued that the gifts that were supposed to be used for charity causes were instead used to finance extravagant improvements, expenses for the individual, as well as investments that are dubious. Lifestyle that is extravagant. Some individuals believed that Carpenter's lifestyle, which included the use of luxury automobiles, the ownership of a huge estate, and frequent travel to other countries, was not consistent with the humility that is expected of a pastor. Accounting that is not clear. It has been claimed that former members of the church's staff as well as auditors have expressed concerns regarding the lack of openness in the church's financial statements, which has fueled suspicions of poor management. 3. False declarations of intent. Carpenter was accused of making extravagant promises by a number of congregants and former employees. These promises included giving money to community outreach initiatives and providing assistance to families from disadvantaged backgrounds. However, these pledges were either partially fulfilled or completely abandoned. Further damage was done to his reputation among detractors as a result of this apparent breach of trust. Congregational responses to the fallout. Many individuals who are members of Redemption Church. It seemed like a personal betrayal when the claims were made. People who had been members of the congregation for a long time and had invested not only their financial resources but also their trust and devotion in Carpenter's vision found themselves struggling with challenging questions. Some people made the decision to quit the church in order to look for spiritual guidance elsewhere, while others reaffirmed their support for the church and dismissed the accusations as attacks from those who were opposed to it. This division was a reflection of a larger tension that existed within the Christian community, which dealt with the challenge of reconciling the fundamental ideals of humility with contemporary advances and the realities of the financial world, being selfless and serving others. Although Carpenter's acceptance of technology is contentious, it also represents a larger trend in contemporary Christianity. Additionally, the function of technology in modern ministry is a topic that Carpenter has addressed. Technology has become an essential component of religious practice, as evidenced by the proliferation of live stream sermons, Bible apps, and virtual attendance at worship events. Nevertheless, the delicate balance that exists between innovation and integrity continues to exist. Possible advantages to it. There are many who believe that applications such as Carpenter's app have the potential to democratize access to spiritual materials, thereby reaching individuals who might not otherwise interact with the church as a result. Errors caused by ethics. Some people are concerned that an excessive dependence on technology could lead to the commercialization of faith, which would transform intensely intimate experiences into impersonal transactions. Megachurches are subject to broader repercussions. Ron Carpenter is not the only person who has been involved in the controversy that has surrounded him. Megachurches are confronted with a wider range of issues, which are reflected here. Taking into account accountability, megachurches, which have enormous financial resources and power, can operate with inadequate monitoring, which creates chances for misconduct. The criticism of culture. Megachurches, which are often seen as emblems of money and power, are sometimes subjected to criticism for being out of touch with the families and communities that they serve. Maintaining a healthy equilibrium between development and authenticity, the desire to expand can occasionally result in compromises that alienate core supporters. Forgiveness or destruction. After the dust has settled on these scandals, there is still one question that has to be answered. Is it possible for Ron Carpenter to repair his reputation and have his supporters trust him again? One thing that has been demonstrated throughout history is that charismatic leaders frequently have an extraordinary capacity to survive storms of criticism and emerge stronger on the other side. The determination of Carpenter to confront the issues head-on will determine whether or not he is able to achieve such a redemption. It is imperative that he embraces transparency and refocuses his ministry on the spiritual mission that initially motivated it. Final thoughts. A study of faith and leadership through a case study. The Saga of Ron Carpenter is a compelling case study that illustrates the problems of contemporary Christian leadership. There are tensions between innovation and tradition, ambition and humility, personal vision and communal trust, and these tensions are brought to light by this, while we are thinking about his life. The tremendous responsibility that comes with spiritual leadership is brought to our attention, as is the significance of holding individuals in positions of authority accountable for their actions. Carpenter's journey provides essential lessons for leaders, congregations, and anyone else who is attempting to negotiate the delicate dynamics of faith in the 21st century. Whether it is considered as a cautionary tale or a pioneering story, Carpenter's journey offers significant insights.